Hello everybody, this is the Eternian Jedi with a new action figure video. So today is going to be a bit of a different video. I'm going to be doing a comparison between the vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutagen Man and the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutagen Man action figures. So this is going to be the first episode in a series where I take a look at different TMNT characters. We're going to compare the 2012 versions with the vintage versions, mainly the show and the figures, because obviously in the show Mutagen Man did look a bit different. I've noticed that for the most part the 2012 Ninja Turtles figures are definitely more accurate to the show than the vintage figures are accurate to the 87 show. So that is something to keep in mind. But yeah, I thought this would be something fun to do, to see the differences and basically to, ask ourselves if we have a favorite. I know for a lot of people, it's probably going to be the vintage. I have a lot of love for both versions, the 87 show, the 2012 show, the 2012 line, and, vintage line of Ninja Turtles. So this is going to be something very interesting to do. And of course, today it's going to be Mutagen Man, one of my favorite Ninja Turtles characters, so I'm very excited to be doing this. So we're going to start off by looking at each one of these figures individually, just to look at them quickly. So let's start off with the 2012 Series 1. So here he is. Now, it is important to note that there is a variant for this figure, which I do not own. I own the regular version. So the variant has unpainted eyes on the collection of organs inside of him, which is an interesting variant, but I never got it, and I'm not that fussed to pick him up. I'm happy with the one I've got. But yeah, here he is, and I gotta say, I just love this design so much. Design-wise, I think I do prefer this one over the vintage one, just because, first of all, it's the one I grew up with, so there may be a bit of a nostalgia bias, but it just looks awesome to me. I love how big the container is. The transparent arms just look awesome. I'm a sucker for transparent parts. Just a really, really cool figure. And yeah, just insane. One of my absolute favorites from the line. So a few features with this guy. You can open this container up, so you just have to turn this to the side and then you can pull it out, which I love. You can really take a look at all the guts and the details. That is pretty creepy. I remember as a kid, this really struck fear into me, but yeah, just really well detailed. You look at this thing and it's just attached onto the lid. And of course, the way this worked is that you were meant to fill it up with water, just like the vintage toy, or you could fill it up with the Mutagen ooze. But I think they recommended that you fill it up with water. Now, obviously in the show, if I remember correctly, in the 2012 series, Mutagen Man is floating in Mutagen ooze. But yeah, I can't really remember that well. But anyways, the other feature is with his hand. As you can see, there's quite a few holes in his hands. And the way that works is that this is where you're really meant to put ooze, because you want the ooze gushing out of his hand. So that's a nice feature as well. But yeah, aside from that, pretty simple figure, but they did an insanely good job. Also love the detailing over here on the, this is actually his microphone, his speaker. This is what allows him to communicate with the turtles, which is a very nice accessory, or, added detail, because it's not removable. But yeah, looks awesome from every angle. Just a really, really well done figure. Fits in really nicely with the others. And as I said, definitely one of my favorites. Just has a really cool design. They really did an incredible job. And Playmates Toys translated him very well from the show. So, definitely props to them for that one. And here is the vintage Mutagen Man. Now, I do need to put out a disclaimer. This is not really the vintage Mutagen Man. This is the reissue, released in 2022, I believe. Part of the classic cohort 4-pack, which includes a foot soldier, Mutagen Man, of course, Wingnut and Screw Loose, and Leatherhead. So I picked up that 4-pack, and this is how I got my Mutagen Man. Identical figure as far as I know. There is something going on with this tube that is different from what I remember hearing. And the other thing, which is very strange, is that Playmates Toys omitted the blaster gun accessory that came with the vintage figure for this reissue, which is very strange. And also, there are a few like little yellow bits, little pieces that you're meant to put inside of him when you put the water, like floating pieces, which, again, we do not receive with this reissue, which is definitely a shame. But the actual figure is the same. So, you know, I still technically own a vintage Mutagen Man, and I know a lot of people don't like me, will probably not like me saying that. But anyways, here he is, and he looks awesome. I mean, I've really come to like this figure. When I first bought him, I was, you know, still saying like, oh, I prefer my 2012 one, but this one looks awesome as well. You know, definitely quite different. If you take a look at them, obviously this is a comparison video, so I need to bring that up. But yeah, like the 2012 Mutagen Man has arms made of ooze. You know, that's pretty clear. Even though the yellow, they don't look very yellow in the show, or sorry, on the actual figure. It's in the show that they look like the mutagen ooze. You know, they still get that point across. But if you look at this vintage Mutagen Man, he still has like pretty human-looking legs and arms, except his skin has melted and you can see his flesh. Again, very gnarly, very gory. You know, for kids' toys, I'm surprised they got away with this, but it looks really, really cool. Really well done. You can even see his kneecap sticking out, which is pretty incredible. And I love how, you know, this figure isn't symmetrical or anything. Like, he looks very beat up, like a Frankenstein type experiment. He's got, you know, one leg with like some sort of shoe piece, and this one is without any, so you can see his like mutated toes, which have become like, you know, like very mutated, of course. And same thing on his hands, of course, with the nails. So yeah, just a really cool looking design. But again, you compare these two, they are very different. If I didn't know any better, I wouldn't say these are the same character, except for the container of the actual body of Mutagen Man. But yeah, very nice design, of course. And something I love about the vintage one, I'm assuming it was the case, but because my reissue has removable parts. So I can remove the legs and the arms. So I can basically just have the container like so. Because if you guys remember, in the 2012 series, Donatello is trying to return Mutagen Man to normal. And, you know, for quite a long period, he's displayed in Donnie's, like, tech room without the arms. That's before he gets access to the mutagen ooze. So, yeah, that's just something I thought I would mention. But, yeah, I guess now that I've taken off the limbs, we can take a closer look at the details on this guy. He looks insane. Even the inside, like, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's like a skull, and his eyes are just exploding out. Just really gory. Well, not gory, but just like striking. You know, the brain as well. Like, again, I'm surprised they got away with this for a kid's toy. And you're meant to open this up, and that's where you fill it up with water. And this is obviously a transparent piece. That's one of the reasons I went for the reissue, is because, first of all, the vintage figure costs more money. And secondly, the transparent white plastic is yellowed, so it's very hard to find one in good condition for a good price. I have no problems buying reissues. That's not something I'm worried about. So I'm very, very pleased with this Mutagen Man reissue. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, there aren't any other differences. I guess this canister looks a bit more secure. I think that's the only thing I can really say about it. You know, and I believe this one is actually removable, like this whole purple harness. So yeah, I mean, when it comes down to which one I prefer, it's very, very hard for me to say, because they feel very different. So it's a very close tie for me. I am slightly leaning into the direction of the 2012 one, but there's something about the vintage one I love as well. So yeah, it's really hard for me to say, but you know, I definitely want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Which one do you prefer? But I think that's going to cover it for this comparison / review. You know, it's the first one of many that I am planning to do. Next up, I'll do a foot soldier comparison, a leatherhead comparison, a metalhead comparison, obviously between the vintage and 2012 figures. So yeah, this is something new I figured I would do. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all very soon.